In a small town in Osun State, Nigeria, lived a bright young girl named Jennifer. She had a best friend named Linda, and together, they shared dreams of a brighter future. Jennifer and Linda were both 15 years old and had just completed their junior secondary school JSS 3. Despite facing challenges, Jennifer had lost her mother at birth, and Linda was raised solely by her mother. They excelled in their studies. Their hard work paid off when they both received scholarships to attend an all-girls school in Lagos, known for its excellence and high standards. One sunny afternoon, Jennifer rushed to Linda's house, waving a letter excitedly. "Linda, we've been accepted. We're going to Lagos," she exclaimed. Linda's eyes widened with joy. "Really? This is amazing. Our hard work has paid off." Their families were overjoyed. Jennifer's father, though a humble man, was proud of his daughter's achievements. Linda's mother couldn't stop smiling, knowing her daughter's future was bright. The day finally arrived for their journey to Lagos. Jennifer's father offered to drive them in his old, reliable car. The car had seen better days, but it was their trusted means of transport. As they packed their bags into the car, neighbors gathered to wish them well. "Study hard and make us proud," an elderly woman called out. "We will," Jennifer and Linda chorused, waving goodbye. The journey was long and the roads were bumpy. As they approached Lagos, the car began to sputter. Jennifer's father frowned, tapping the dashboard. "Come on, old friend. Just a little further," he murmured. But the car had other plans. With a final cough, it came to a halt right in front of the school's gate. The engine refused to start again. Students and parents arriving in sleek, shiny cars stared as Jennifer's father tried to restart the car. Jennifer and Linda felt their cheeks burn with embarrassment. Why did this have to happen here? Jennifer whispered, her eyes downcast. Linda placed a comforting hand on her friend's shoulder. "It's okay, Jennifer. We're here now. That's what matters." Seeing their struggle, the school security guard approached. "Having some trouble?" he asked kindly. Jennifer's father sighed. "Yes, the car just gave up. Let's give it a push," the guard suggested. With the help of the guard and some onlookers, they managed to push the car to a parking spot. Though grateful, Jennifer and Linda couldn't shake off the feeling of embarrassment as they noticed other students whispering and pointing. As they walked into the registration hall, Jennifer couldn't help but notice the difference. Many students wore expensive clothes and had parents who looked important. She felt out of place in her simple dress. Linda nudged her. "Don't worry about them. We're here because we earned it." Jennifer nodded, trying to muster a smile. "You're right. Let's focus on why we're here." The principal, a tall woman with a warm smile, welcomed them. "Congratulations on your scholarships. We're proud to have you here." "Thank you, ma'am," they replied in unison. She handed them their schedules and gave a brief orientation. "Remember, hard work and discipline are key here. If you need any help, my door is always open." After registration, they were shown to their hostel. The room was small, with 4 bunk beds, accommodating 8 girls. As they unpacked, some of their roommates introduced themselves, while others seemed indifferent. Jennifer sat on her bed, looking around. "This is going to be our home for the next few years," she said softly. Linda smiled. "And we're going to make the best of it." As night fell, Jennifer lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. The day's events replayed in her mind, the excitement, the embarrassment, the new faces. She took a deep breath, determination filling her heart. "We've come this far," she thought. "No matter what challenges come our way, we'll face them head on." With that resolve, She closed her eyes, ready to embrace the new journey ahead. Jennifer and Linda quickly immersed themselves in their studies, eager to prove themselves. They attended classes, participated in group discussions, and spent their evenings completing assignments. Despite their dedication, they couldn't help but notice the differences between themselves and some of their peers. Many of the other students came from affluent backgrounds, arriving in luxurious cars and wearing the latest fashions. Jennifer and Linda, with their modest means, felt out of place. They often overheard conversations about exotic vacations and expensive gadgets, topics they couldn't relate to. Among their senior in SS3, a girl named Abigail. She was tall, confident, and came from a wealthy family. Abigail had a group of friends who followed her lead, and she was known for her sharp tongue and domineering presence. One afternoon, during lunch, Jennifer and Linda sat together, sharing a meal they had brought from home. As they chatted quietly, Abigail approached their table. "What's that smell?" Abigail sneered, wrinkling her nose. "Oh, it's your food. Don't you know the cafeteria has better options?" Jennifer looked down, her cheeks flushing with embarrassment. Linda mustered the courage to respond. "We prefer homemade meals." Abigail smirked. "How quaint. Well, try not to stink up the place." With that, she and her friends walked away, laughing. The encounter was just the beginning. Abigail seemed to take pleasure in targeting Jennifer and Linda. She would make snide remarks about their clothes, mock their accents, and belittle their academic achievements. One evening, as Jennifer and Linda returned to their hostel room, they found their belongings scattered across the floor. Their books were torn, and their clothes were strewn about. "Who did this?" Linda exclaimed, tears welling up in her eyes. A fellow student whispered, "I saw Abigail and her friends leaving your room earlier." Jennifer clenched her fists, anger and frustration bubbling inside her. "This has to stop," she muttered. Determined to put an end to the bullying, Jennifer decided to report the incidents. She approached their class teacher after school. "Ma'am, we've been having some problems," Jennifer began hesitantly. "What kind of problems?" "Another student has been harassing us, Abigail. She's been mocking us, and today she vandalized our belongings." The teacher sighed. "Bullying is a serious accusation, Jennifer. Do you have any proof?" Jennifer shook her head. "No, but without evidence, it's hard to take action. Try to avoid her and focus on your studies." Feeling dismissed, Jennifer left the classroom, her heart heavy. She shared the outcome with Linda, who suggested they speak to the principal. The next day, they nervously stood outside the principal's office. After being called in, Jennifer explained their situation. The principal listened quietly before responding. "I understand your concerns, but without concrete evidence, it's challenging to address the issue. Keep a low profile, and if anything else happens, document it." Disheartened, Jennifer and Linda left the office. They felt trapped, with no one willing to help them. Realizing that Jennifer and Linda had sought help, Abigail intensified her torment. She would trip them in the hallways, pour water on their bed, and spread rumors about them. One afternoon, Jennifer, once enthusiastic about her studies, found it hard to concentrate. Linda became withdrawn, avoiding social interactions. One afternoon, as Jennifer sat by herself in the school laundry, washing her uniform with tears in her eyes, a voice interrupted her thoughts. "Jennifer," she looked up and saw Precious, the head girl. Precious was known for being one of the most powerful students in the school. She was elegant, intelligent, and always carried herself with confidence. "I know what Abigail did to you," Precious said, her voice soft yet firm. I've been watching everything. I can help you make sure no one ever bullies you again. Jennifer's eyes lit up. Really? She asked, her voice filled with hope. Yes, but under one condition, Precious replied. I want you to be my best friend. My one and only best friend. Jennifer hesitated. She had always been close to Linda. Was she supposed to forget about her? But the idea of having the head girl as her protector was tempting. Maybe this was her chance to finally be respected. Okay, she said with a small smile. I'll be your best friend. Precious grinned. Good choice. Precious placed a reassuring hand on Jennifer's shoulder. Leave it to me. We'll find a way to stop this. For the first time in weeks, Jennifer felt a glimmer of hope. With Precious's support, perhaps they could put an end to Abigail's reign of terror. We need to gather evidence, Precious suggested. Without proof, it's challenging to hold her accountable. Jennifer nodded. But how do we do that? Leave it to me, Precious replied with a reassuring smile. Precious discreetly set up a small camera in the common areas where Abigail's bullying often occurred. Over the next few days, they captured several incidents. Abigail pouring water on Jennifer's books, tripping Linda in the hallway, and making derogatory remarks. With the evidence in hand, Precious approached the principal. Ma'am, I have something important to show you. The principal watched the footage, her expression growing stern. This behavior is unacceptable. Thank you for bringing this to my attention. The following day, the principal called an assembly. Abigail was summoned to the front. Abigail, the principal began, we have evidence of your bullying behavior. Such actions have no place in our school. Abigail's face paled. I'm sorry, she stammered. Apologies are not enough, the principal replied. You will face disciplinary action and attend counseling sessions to address this behavior. As Abigail was led away, whispers filled the assembly hall. Jennifer and Linda exchanged relieved glances, grateful that justice was served. With Abigail's bullying addressed, Jennifer and Linda felt a weight lifted off their shoulders. They could now focus on their studies and enjoy their time at school. A few days later, Precious approached Jennifer again. Your hostel room is too crowded, she said. You're sharing a tiny space with 8 other girls. It's uncomfortable, isn't it? Jennifer nodded. Why don't you move into my room? Precious continued. There are only 3 of us there. You'll have more space, privacy, and, most importantly, no one will ever dare to touch you. Jennifer was stunned. Being invited into Precious's room was a rare privilege. But what about Linda? She asked. Precious sighed. Linda can take care of herself. You need to think about yourself for once. After thinking about it, Jennifer agreed. The next day, the hostel mistress approved the transfer, and Jennifer moved into Precious's room. Linda was sad about the move, but she didn't stop Jennifer. As long as you're happy, she said softly. For the first few nights, everything seemed perfect. The room was bigger, cleaner, and much quieter than her old one. But then, something strange happened. One night, as Jennifer lay in bed, she heard weird sounds coming from the other side of the room. It was soft giggling, whispers, and strange movements. She turned to look, but before she could see anything, Precious hugged her from behind. Shoo, she whispered. Just sleep. Jennifer froze. What's going on? They're just having fun, Precious said with a smirk. Don't worry. You will understand soon enough. Jennifer wasn't sure what she meant, but she decided to stay quiet and pretend to sleep. The next day, after classes, Precious asked Jennifer a strange question. Have you ever been with a man before? She asked casually. Jennifer's eyes widened. No, I'm only 15. Precious sighed. I was hurt by someone when I was 7, she admitted. It was horrible, but I found a way to feel good without ever going through pain again. Jennifer was confused. What do you mean? Precious smiled. I can show you. That night, as everyone settled into their beds, Precious pulled out a small black object. This is a toy, she whispered. It makes people feel good. No pain, no problems. She handed it to one of the other girls in the room, who giggled and used it. Jennifer watched in shock. She had never seen anything like it before. Do you want to try? Precious asked, looking at her expectantly. Jennifer hesitated. She felt nervous but also curious. If Precious, the most powerful girl in school, said it was okay, then maybe it wasn't bad. Finally, she nodded. Precious turned on the toy, and a soft buzzing sound filled the air. At first, Jennifer didn't feel much, but then the buzzing grew stronger. Then, something went wrong. Sparks flew from the device. What's happening? One of the girls screamed. Precious grabbed the toy, trying to turn it off, but it short-circuited. A loud pop echoed through the room, and suddenly, flames erupted. Fire, someone shouted. The flames spread quickly, catching onto the bed sheets. Precious screamed as her blanket caught fire. Jennifer panicked. Help, she cried. The hostile mistress and other students rushed in, some pouring water on the flames, while others screamed in fear. Finally, the fire was put out, but the room was severely damaged. Precious and one of the other girls had burns on their hands. The next morning, the principal called for an emergency meeting. The school launched an investigation, and Precious was forced to confess that she had brought a forbidden device into the hostel. As a result, she was expelled immediately. Jennifer pleaded her innocence. I didn't know about it, she insisted. After careful deliberation, the principal decided not to expel her, but gave her a strict warning. If anything like this happens again, she said, you will face serious consequences. Jennifer was shaken. She had been so eager to fit in that she hadn't realized she was making dangerous choices. She packed her bags and moved back to Linda's hostel. That night, as Jennifer sat beside Linda, she sighed deeply. I should have stayed with you, she admitted. I was so focused on being protected that I didn't see the danger in front of me. Linda smiled. At least now you know who your real friends are. Jennifer nodded. Yeah, and I won't make the same mistake again. The experience changed Jennifer forever. She learned that not all friendships are good, and that some people use power to manipulate others. From that day forward, she stayed true to herself and focused on her studies. And in the end, that was the real key to her success. Years later, Jennifer and Linda graduated at the top of their class. They looked back at their time in school, remembering both the good and bad experiences. Jennifer had once thought that being close to power would protect her, but she learned that true strength comes from within. And so, as she stepped into the next chapter of her life, she did so with confidence, wisdom, and a heart full of gratitude.